So, Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler fought last weekend, and it turns out it was pretty good. No, I joke, that was as good a fight as we ever could have hoped for. Two completely ready and willing high-level wrestlers who said to hell with the best path and proceeded to throw down over 3 chaotic rounds. And I know that the title of this video is quite Gaethje-centric, but man did Michael Chandler do his part. Maybe he even did more than Justin to make this fight what it was, albeit in a losing effort. I'm actually quite happy to see Chandler making something of himself in the UFC, really hitting his stride as a star for the promotion. He's been a 155-pound elite for about a decade, and during his best moments has been quite thrilling to watch in there. And when you consider that he went 0-3 at one point in his career, going 23 long months without a victory, before turning his career around to once again capture Bellator gold. Yeah, I've been a Michael Chandler fan for years. He looks the part, he's perhaps the most polished public speaker in the game, he fights like a maniac when he needs to, and I did an interview with him a few years back and he is genuinely one of the nicest people I've spoken to within the MMA sphere. But anywho, he most certainly brought the fire last Saturday night, and brought out an interesting compromise in Justin Gaethje's recent switch up to his fighting style. Though he gladly accepted Chandler's attempts to make this a war, he didn't always go back to his days of tucking the chin, swinging wildly, and hammering the legs from in close. There was a bit of that, but this wasn't the Johnson fight, it wasn't the Alvarez fight, or the Dustin Poirier fight. Gaethje, for the first time since his revival as a more methodical fighter, was in that cage with the possibility of recklessness dangling in front of his face, and he didn't actually fully bite on it. I mean, okay, he definitely had more than a nibble at times, but my main takeaway from this fight was that Justin Gaethje had a level of composure in the fire, a level of patience that managed to shine through in crucial moments, something that ultimately got him the win. All credit to Michael Chandler for making this as ugly as can be, but I think looking at the landscape of the lightweight division right now, Gaethje not only proved that he is still very much the most war-ready fighter at 155 pounds right now, but he also managed to do that while retaining the lessons that he absolutely needed to learn during that 2-fight skid earlier in his career. Look, losing to Khabib was obviously a bit of a setback. Holes in his game were exposed for the world to see, but in reality, the Eagle is not coming back for a second helping anytime soon, and in there with the All-American Chandler, he once again proved his ability to be a competent and strong anti-wrestler using his own stellar background. So when you stop and think about it, this Gaethje is not too far removed from the same Gaethje who beat Vic, Cerrone and Barboza in the first round, the same guy who hammered Tony Ferguson over 5 rounds in what was a truly brutal display. It's understandable that the Nurmagomedov loss took a bit of wind out of his sails, but it was a quick, merciful submission, not a career-altering knockout or beatdown. Would it be crazy to suggest that this version of Gaethje has a better shot at beating both Dustin Poirier and the champ Oliveira than any of the other top 5 contenders right now? I don't think that's a stretch at all. On a side note, if you're enjoying this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all of our latest uploads, before leaving a comment to let YouTube's algorithm know that we are fast becoming one of the best MMA channels on the platform. What we saw on Saturday night was a man nailing the formula, balancing crazy and competence in a performance that managed to hit all of the right notes. So obviously I think he's next in line for the title, whether that be against Charles Oliveira in a fresh matchup, or in my own personal favourite, a rematch against Dustin that would feel pretty well earned at this point. I think both Beneil Dariush and Islam Makhachev need one more win, so maybe match them up. We almost assume that the man is going to produce fireworks each and every time he steps into the octagon, and through his time in World Series of Fighting and during his 9 fights within the UFC, he's done a pretty commendable job at balancing sheer madness with actual high-level results in one of the all-time best divisions in the sport's history. So when you think about hitting that perfect mix of results and pure fire, I do think that there's an argument to be made that Justin Gaethje is the single most exciting fighter in MMA history, and I don't know just yet if I would truly nail myself down to making him my top outright pick. But when you look at these fights, these knockouts, what he demands of his opponents, I'm becoming more and more convinced of the fact that he's in a league of his own, at least within the modern era. Because when you're watching MMA live, it's not always the action and madness within the cage that actually matters. It's the stakes. It's the consequences for losing. These are the things that truly elevate the craziness you're experiencing, because you're almost surprised that it's happening. His competition for this title, in my opinion, brings together the action fighters, guys like Diego Sanchez, Vanderlei Silva, Robbie Lawler, the theatrics of guys like Anderson Silva, Conor McGregor, Nick Diaz, the weird outliers like Yoel Romero, Genki Sudo, Jiri Prochazka. Maybe you like the creativity of a Stephen Thompson, a Max Holloway, or a Carlos Condit. Perhaps you're one of those sickos that locks themselves into dark rooms watching people get khabibed over and over. whatever. But whatever excitement within MMA means for you, I think Justin Gaethje's ability to tie it all together, to bring brawls in bouts of real consequence, to bring one-punch knockouts that remind you of the sheer danger of the brawls that inevitably follow, the way he chops the base with his odd use of leg kicks, his ability to recover, to rebound. This guy has that dog in him, and I would venture to say that the Chandler fight was his most impressive spectacle to date. Dana White, if you're watching, please give this man his shot at the belt. But what did you make of this return to form for Justin the Highlight Gaethje? And how do you think he fares in there against the two men fighting for the UFC lightweight title next month, in Charles Oliveira and Dustin Poirier? Do let us know your opinions in the comments section below. We always love to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and a comment before subscribing to the channel so you can stay up to date with all of our latest uploads. Thanks for watching.